us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. Fight the power. Fight the power.
Become the power. Become the power. You got to become the powers so you can be.
Fight the power. Fight the power.
I'll have a little fun this morning. It is Get in Trouble Friday, so I guess we're gonna say some hard stuff today. We're gonna have to get in trouble. I'm just laughing, y'all. I'm still thinking about. I can't get past the whole Rage Against the Machine before we became the machine. Fight the power before we became the power.
Fight the power. Fight the power. We got to fight the powers that be. Algorithms.
Become the power. Become the powers that be. Sell out your people. Sell out the humans that be. Anyway, all right. I'm sorry. Let me get serious for a minute. I'm having fun. Have to have fun because there's going to be a whole lot of crying later. Well, that's not true. That's not totally true. See, there's going to be a whole lot of crying later, or a whole lot of running later, or a whole lot of utopia enjoyment and happy people later. It's all a choice, you know, but it doesn't begin with selling out your people and becoming the power. This is not where this goes. So anyway, before I start going, Sister Laura, you dancing this morning? I'm sorry. I didn't know if that would get you dancing. I listen to old music sometimes. I can't believe that I'm calling the music I used to listen to old. It's not good. We're going the wrong way. I'm hanging out in Elysium today, y'all. I'm going to show y'all Elysium for a minute. Sister Lori, good morning. Renee, Brother Robert. C. Thomas Payne, good morning, brother. All right, Sister Ginger in the house. Hey, Ginger. Lisa done came in. Okay, we're going to have a little fun today. It's Friday, y'all. It's Get in Trouble Friday. This is the time I have to say things that just get me in trouble. And I was looking at them this morning, boy. A whole lot of stuff happening in the world today. Yeah. See, Thomas, we got to get in trouble today. But this is Elysium, y'all. Have y'all seen the movie Elysium? If y'all have seen that movie, you need to watch it. You need to watch Elysium. Great movie. I think is the brother, is that Brad Pitt? I think it might be Brad Pitt that's in that. Y'all should watch Elysium. Because I think every now and then, Hollywood, somebody in Hollywood who's not buying all of this, and they know what's going on. They know behind the scenes what's happening to these little kids. And everybody coming out, apparently, all the government and everybody, half the people in Hollywood raping little kids. But that's coming out. But they know what's going on and they see it. And they'll release a script. They'll release a movie just to give people just enough information to let them know what in the heck is actually going on. And some crazy stuff is going on, y'all. My mind was going in places where, like, I really think Elysium, like, they were trying to tell us something. And this is Elysium. If you haven't seen the movie, I'll give you a little precursor. So everybody that live on that blue thing right there, they all poor. It's just bad. It's bad. It's real bad. Let me show you what it looked like. Everyone that lived that thing down there, it looks like this. This is where they live. Because they have all these unsustainable buildings that eventually are going to fall down. They had a chance to build sustainable buildings, but they decided not to. So they're all falling and collapsing, and they did everything they could to keep them up. They did everything they could to keep the population down, so that the 1%, the 0.01%, they could work on the space station, right? That's like, so they kept building unsustainably. They kept staying away from like sustainable things like, you know, solar panels and wind vanes and stuff. So eventually when all of this stuff collapsed, they already had a place to go. Let me show you what the Elysium, inside of Elysium, it's a space station, y'all. It's beautiful. It's all round and stuff. And so it creates gravity. And so as it turns around, it creates gravity. So it had lakes and oceans and pretty stuff. And people can run and play and dance and sing. And this this is where all their kids are going, y'all. This is where their kids gonna end up. Well, if the whole planet isn't destroyed, if they can stop people from breeding and having all these kids who fight the power, you got to have kids that agree with the power. Now, if you can have some kids that agree with the power, the 1% can have this, y'all. The 0.01%, you got to agree with the power. The cool thing though is they got a lot of people who agree with the power now. They got a lot, yes, they do. They got a lot of people who already done sold everybody out. Now, some of them came back, and they had the people who the same thing with the Rage Against the Machine, right? And I'm saying this the way I do for some reasons. Some of y'all understand what I'm saying, some of y'all don't. But some of y'all used to rage against the machine, and no raging happening right now. We are the machine. We aren't, angry with the deciders are deciding for us. We became the deciders. We deciding for everybody. We became the authoritarians. And so, but they want to teach your kids to not be enraged and to become a decider and listen to the deciders and become the machine. If not become the machine, because I don't think you can become the machine. I think you might be able to be some oil or some grease in the machine until they don't need oil and grease no more, then they throw you away. But we don't live here, y'all. This is Elysium. This is not, if you watching this, you don't live. Your kids do not get to live here. Your kids, let me go back to, because I like to keep it real. This is where our kids gonna live. This is our home. So I'm gonna talk from our home this morning. A lot of stuff going on today. A lot of stuff going on. I'm not sure, but I do know where to start. I gotta start. Oh, man, you gotta say the hard thing first. Well, you gotta say the real thing, because what this is all about, it's all about human beings, right? It's all about taking care of our people. And right now, we got a lot of people in trouble. We got a lot of people in trouble in Yemen, right? And so what's going on in Yemen? I know I'm gonna pronounce the words wrong, but I do the best that I can. So you got Saudi Arabia fighting the Houthis, something like that, fighting them. They've been fighting for a while, people starving in Yemen, and they've been starving a while. So don't let the media fool you. They're gonna say, oh, this has been going on for a while. Yes, it has been. The difference though, the two distinct differences. The difference is Saudi Arabia is not doing well in this conflict. And so what Saudi Arabia did is they shut down all aid going into Yemen. Everything. Land, sea, air, underground. They done built the wall up around the whole thing. I know, I make some of the stuff up. But they stopped all aid from getting in the country. So what you have right now is you got almost 1 million people with cholera. And you have the UN that's actually starting to say something. Now, you know the UN, if they actually start to cause something, some sort of a crisis in a country or by a country that is allegiant with America, it's bad. So if the UN comes out and they say, you know what, ain't nothing going in Yemen. It's probably, something's going on. If they come out and say, some people aren't doing good in Yemen. It's a lot of people doing real bad in Yemen. But if the UN comes out and says that Yemen is on the verge of the biggest famine in decades, and they say that to a U.S. ally like Saudi Arabia, who we keep kings, we force democracy on the whole world, but we keep kings there who murder, rape, rob, destroy the world, come over here, rape our people, put them on airplanes, send them back without trials. If you mean to tell me that they would come out and say that about what's happening in Yemen, it's bad. It's bad. They're speculating 7 million people can die in Yemen. So I gotta say the serious thing first. I gotta put it out. And as serious as it is, it's redamn ridiculous, because this is what the American military is for. What should be happening right now is the Army, the Marines, and the Air Force, and the reason all these brothers and sisters signed up, they need to be surrounding Saudi Arabia. But it's not just the Saudis are the worst in the conflict. The Houthis on the other side, I know I'm saying that wrong. I have to correct that. On the other side, they're horrible too. But the Saudis are the one who are now waging direct warfare on the people in terms of food, water, electricity, bombing hospitals. A lot of people are going to die. A whole lot of people are going to die, which is why Washington isn't really saying much. which is why the UN is only trying to, they can only put little stuff in the crack without pissing off Washington, and that stops the flow of guns and tanks and airplanes to all the other countries who support the UN, which is why they really don't want to say nothing. So this is something, y'all, we got to make go viral. Go do a little research about Yemen. I think I posted a video too this morning about it. Al Jazeera is talking about it, so it's a big deal. It's a big. If you want the 1% want to fight their wars, let them fight their wars, but you can't go off killing millions of human beings. Pay attention to Yemen. So, speaking. Hold on, this gonna feed into something now. So speaking of their diplomats, their ambassadors coming here, because you always hear about it, raping, robbing, murdering. If you live in, I think there was, who was talking about it? That was Brother Rogan. Joe Rogan was talking about how in LA you see the princes riding around, doing whatever the hell they want, parking where they want, shooting who they want, just acting a fool because they're not subject to our laws. And if they get in trouble, if someone actually catches them, they just put them on an airplane, they fly them home. So, our president was over in China. He was in China and he took his phone. He took his phone with his Twitter account, his Twitter app. Do you know that it's illegal to tweet in China? I don't know if y'all knew that. I don't know if you knew it's illegal to tweet. Every now and then the Matrix will kind of show you a little bit of the truth. And it's a good thing that our president didn't tweet once. The whole time he was in China, he didn't tweet once because they'd have put him in prison. That's a lie. That brother been tweeting. He been just he doing his thing. And of course, they're just going to put him on an airplane, send him home. The same way when the 1% comes over here and they rob, rape, murder, do whatever they want, they put them on an airplane, they send them. If you're not really understanding that you're the 99%, that you're not the machine and that you're not the power and you can pretend to be the power, you can want to get up on that porch and you think that if you serve some lemonade, they're going to let you in there and you're going to become part of the machine, you're not. You're not. This is your future, right? This is where your kids going to live with mine. We all going to be right here chilling. That's my part, right? Wait a minute. I think if I get good, let me see. I want this one right here because this one right here has a little deck. You can kind of see over all the pillage and stuff. So I think I'm going to stay on that one right there. So he was over there. And of course, unfortunately, and this is where everybody gonna get upset at me because I know I got a lot of my Trump friends, a lot of my Obama friends, but this is where there is no damn difference, none whatsoever, zero, none. The only difference is one is funnier than the other. That's the only difference. They're doing exactly the same thing. They talk different, but whoever runs our country doesn't let our presidents decide a damn thing. So of course we are in 100%. Full support of Saudi Arabia and what they're doing. And the strongest words we could come up with was concern. We're concerned about what Saudi Arabia is doing. We're concerned that 7 million people are going to die if we don't do a damn thing. So that's what the American military is for. And as much as I go down to blame the government route, I always pull myself back because you can go far down that route and like these people are crazy. But the reality is, I posted something this morning. I'm always having these crazy thoughts when I wake up. I don't know. Aliens or somebody downloading information into my head. But, as much as we blame the government, the fact of the matter is we are the government. We put them in place. We keep them in power. Everything that they do, we control. And so whatever big corporation, we say, oh, well, big corporations, they bought government. They're the demon and blah, 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 blah. Okay. But government controls corporations. So if government controls big government or government controls big corporations and big corporations bought the government and the only controlling power in all of this, the root power is us, we have nobody to blame. We can go pretty far with the blame and fight the power. But if you're fighting the power and you're voting for the power, if you're fighting the power and you're supporting the power, you're fighting the power and Russia did it. You're fighting the power and climate change. I think I'm going to go down the climate change route. All right. I'm not going to go. So I've been avoiding this topic for a little while. I've been avoiding climate change because I've been trying to do, trying to listen to the brothers and sisters who are really researching this heavy. I've come to a place where, hold on, let me see if I can, I think I got to change my background. I got to get out of this. It's too depressing. It's too depressing. If you want to sit there and look at where our kids gonna live, that's just kind of depressing. Let's go somewhere else. I want to go here. I want to go right here. Let's go here. Wham. That's right. I got fake backgrounds because all of this is fake anyway. I want to go over here. All right. So where are we at? Let me slide my big head out the way. I'm sorry. So let me. This is a water level rise chart. This is what's going to happen to the water. All right. The water is going up. Put this in caveman terms. Water up, bad. Water down, good. Hopefully you understood what I'm saying. Water up, bad. Water down, good. That's the extent of the climate change debate that means any damn thing. That's the only thing that means anything. If the water is going up, people need some help. We got some planning to do, y'all. We got to figure some things out. But either side of the extreme debate, and let's be honest, both sides are lying. The ones who are denying and the ones who say the world's ending next year, they're all lying because nobody knows. Nobody on this planet has any idea. They're all guessing. Why are they guessing? Because they can make a lot of money guessing. They can make a lot of money making it all up. They both got caught falsifying data and lying. And how are you going to try to convince me to trust a liar? Explain that to me. It's like the little kid I talk about who lived up the street. Came to school, said he had the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip. We all believed him. He was the coolest kid. And Johnny was everything. Johnny, because Johnny got his daddy bought him the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip. Damn it. Now he got two. Oh, you got to be nice to Johnny. Johnny, you want some of my fries at lunchtime? You can have a little piece of my pizza. You want my fruit, Johnny? Yeah, I know. They used to feed us in school like we were in prison. It was like commissary. We used to trade commissary because we wanted to, oh, Johnny, can I borrow the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip next week just for a day? I just won't touch it. Okay, yeah, well, you got to give me some of your chips, And so this is where, the prison system, how they trade commissary. This is where they get it from because they teach us this in school. But that's the whole school indoctrination thing. That's a whole nother discussion. So they come to find out Johnny was lying. Johnny didn't have a damn thing. Why? Because the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip wasn't even out yet. His dad didn't work for Hasbro. He made the whole damn thing up. It's a complete lie. So how are you going to try to convince me to trust somebody that's lying? And so Johnny going to come back a month later, said he got a transformer. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He's lying. And even if he might could sort of have a transformer box from his cousin who gave him the box after he got the transformer, I don't trust Johnny. I don't trust, because Johnny's a liar, right? And so if you want me to trust the climate change deniers or the climate change, the world going to enders, you're talking to the wrong person. You need to talk to somebody that believes liars don't lie. I think there are two kind of people. I think there are people who, that's going too far. I'm not going to say that. But the point is, if you lie, I'm not in your camp. I can't be on your team. If your whole team lie, I got to switch teams. And so the water's going up. You got people drowning. You got people right now in Indonesia and the water's just coming up and they're just watching the water. There was a brother on the interview this morning and the water, he says at nighttime, we just watch the water come up, watch trash float around. You can't see nothing. All the neighbors done moved away. He lives in a neighborhood by himself. Let me see if I got that brother. Because sometimes people think you're lying. They think you're making it up. I got this brother over here. Hold on. I'm going to show you this dude. It's crazy that you got people like watching. I got friends in Jersey watching the water go up. You know what I mean? The water is going up all over the world, and we're busy debating about who gets to control the money from the aid, from the tax dollars that they steal from Americans and the rest of the people around the world.
Is losing his battle against the sea. The ocean started creeping into his house 7 years ago. And most nights, he and his family are having trouble finding a dry place to sleep.
Kalau malam nggak ada kelihatan orang. At night, we only see water and garbage, nothing else. That is very scary.
His neighbors have all fled, their houses destroyed by the waves. Salam and his family are now closest to the sea.
I like that picture. We're going to stay right there. So the water's coming up. Water's coming up all over the world. Everybody's like, hello, our feet are wet. Hey, can y'all help us? And instead of helping, we're just debating about which side is going to get all our money. Are we going to let one side take the money and keep going the way they are with the industries, or let the other side take the money, hurt those industries, give the money to other industries like war and whatever else that supposedly affects climate change? My issue with this is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what's causing. And you know what? Because you know why it doesn't matter what's causing the water to go up? Because maybe the water ain't going up. I'm going to be a flat earther for a minute. Maybe the water ain't going up. Maybe the water's going down. I mean, maybe the land is going down. It might not be the water's going up, y'all. It could be the land is going down. How do you know? Do you have a gauge? Have you been measuring the height of the land? Maybe the land is going down. I'm not sure what's going on. All I know is people raising their hand saying, help, we in trouble. And instead of helping because they in trouble and preparing what we going to do, we not worried. Let me see if I can point to this. See, the problem is we live somewhere, I guess over in here somewhere. Some of y'all live down there though. And so the people up here, they don't give a damn, right? Because the people up here, hold on, let me see if I can do this. Cause maybe this will help it make more sense. Let me see. I got a little thing I can play with right here. Here we go. All right, let me see if I can do this. All right, so if you live, nope, that's not working. Uh-oh. No, okay, so maybe I'm not going to be able to get it to work. Okay, bottom line, based on where you live, that's what people care about. If they don't actually live where the water going up, then they're not concerned. They're only concerned when the water hits their feet, right? Because they're just looking down, and they don't stop to think that eventually my feet going to be wet. So I have another example. Because sometimes I think you got to say things a couple different ways. And the water's going up. And I'm only concerned with my feet. Oh, I got this on. Here's a better example. So, I love pictures, y'all. I'm sorry. I love pictures. So, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So, when it comes to the whole climate change debate, it's something called controlled opposition, right? Brother James Corbett did the research, and he showed that the Rothschilds, big oil, they were behind big oil, and they're behind climate change. They're behind the whole environmental sustainability movement. That's why you got a lot of people talking sustainability, big corporations, but you don't have any doing anything, right? You have a lot of talk about solar panels, but where are they going up? Where is this major, massive movement? Where is this sustainable movement? And you know why? I'm going to speculate why. You know why there is no mass sustainable movement? I didn't tip it down. I got to bring it back. There is no mass sustainable movement because if there actually is some sort of movement, this right here, this is why there is no mass sustainable movement. Because these people, they're needy. They got needs. They need food. They need water. They need technology from Elysium. And how do you keep people down here? You keep them poor and you keep them hungry. How do you keep soldiers down here, keeping these people in line? Because every now and then, you got to get on a shuttle, go down there and grab some bananas or something because you run out of bananas on Elysium. Is you got to keep them in control. How do you keep them in control? You don't ever let this happen. This brother right here, you don't ever let this happen. And this ain't going to happen, y'all. This is a lie. Ain't nobody coming to save us. Yeah, this is why you love, but Hollywood is still Hollywood, right? You know, Brad Pitt ain't going to come down with some, evolved to have some sort of mechanized control. He's not going to save the world, y'all. When aliens show up, we don't win that battle. That's how the story goes. Our wins are ahead of time, looking at what the hell is coming and fighting it, stopping it. looking at the rest of the story. Y'all remember Paul Harvey, the rest of the story? If the rest of the story says this is going to go bad for the middle class, the poor, most of us, then we have to stop it ahead of time, you know? And so Sister Lori said, keep the cotton field there. Yeah, well, so nobody's coming to save us. Nobody. Absolutely nobody. We have to save ourselves. And the way we save ourselves is we stick to the wisdom that was handed down to us. Why do we like to rage against the machine? Because that's what a lot of our grandparents and our parents told us. They gave us they made us skeptics of government. They made us skeptics. We understood that they weren't us necessarily, right? They were just the psychopaths among us. We didn't have that neuroscience data. Now we got it. Now we know the psychopaths. But we keep going back to this point of becoming a power. Now, put the glove on. So, if I wanted to hurt minorities, I would have a minority president. If I wanted to dominate the oil industry, I would buy the oil industry. If I wanted to hurt sustainability, the sustainable environmental movement, I would make sure I bought it. It's called control opposition. If I wanted to hurt impoverished mid-America, I would put a president in who talked like he was from impoverished mid-America. Does anybody kind of see how this is going? Like where we're going to end up if we continue to give all the technology to big corporations that don't give a damn? People will continue to die. And this is why when what's happening in Yemen starts happening in Yemen, people can start to look the other way. Other important things going on. I can look the other way. I don't have to pay attention to people dying, millions of people dying. And so by the time this plays out a month down the road and they wipe out 30% of their population the same way we did to the Congo for cobalt, same way we did to all these countries. But that's just one we know about. They can say, oh my, did that happen? Oh my goodness. Oh geez. I don't know what we're going to do. We got to send some help over there. Saudi Arabia, I got to do it right. Saudi Arabia, you stop it. You stop doing that, Saudi Arabia. Which reminds me of last administration. So there was a news report that came out. Listen, I live in Pennsylvania. Y'all know I drive around Pennsylvania all the damn time. I see pipelines everywhere. It's just pipes everywhere. They got pipes. You try to drive on the highway, they got pipes just stacked up all on the sides of the highway. You can't even see what's going on. There's so many pipes all over Pennsylvania. Just pipes everywhere. Pipelines. You know why? Because we're going to have jobs, y'all. We're going to have... So if y'all remember the whole DAPL thing and what was going on with that, when it was time for the political party who was behind the movement, behind climate change, we're going to fight climate change. Our president loves big oil, gets big of his money from there, but we're going to fight climate change. We're fighting climate change. When it was time for them to speak up, they said, we're going to give you $1 million fine. Although it might have been $7 million. You know what? Let's say it's $700 million, which means absolutely nothing to a corporation making billions upon billions. So they say, oh, you stop it. Big oil, you stop it. So here we go. So we, of course, didn't stop the pipeline, which completely is a rights issue, right? If you bought the land, you own the land, or if you were given the land, oh, wait a minute, if the federal government took the land from you, they gave the land back to you, or something like that. I forgot how it works out, how they figure that out. It's your land. You can't just put a pipeline through here. And that's the contradiction on that side, but let's talk about the other side. Right? So why is the pipeline good? Because we're going to have jobs. We're going to have the pipelines bringing jobs. Let me explain something to you. You know what a pipe is? Does anybody know what a pipe is? The pipeline has one purpose. The pipeline is called automation. You know why they want automation, technology automated? Because they don't want truckers driving. Truckers are expensive, y'all. And they take oil, they take gas, they need health care. They got little kids at home to feed. And so I think if you really think down to the base of this, if you really do your root cause analysis, dig down deep, you'll realize what's happening. So they're running pipelines through everybody's house and community all over Pennsylvania, and friends in mid-America talk about it too. Pipelines going everywhere. Why? Because nobody stood up against that automation. So what do you think all these truckers are going to do? All these truckers, they're going to go and take your job. They're going to lower the salary in your job. They're going to retool, rekit. And this is why, like I said, the jobs aren't coming back. Because this back here, all of this, you can't have jobs. Y'all, you got to be dependent. Because when they need something, they need to come down and get some minerals. They need to make sure they got enough of us to hire and go do it. Which is part of why our military is over in Saudi Arabia and doing anything good over there. Why? Because, again, hungry people will always serve the king. That's just how it goes. Hungry people will all, and we don't know who the king is. Some of y'all think y'all know the king. We don't know the king. You will never know the king. You might know a few of the lords here and there. You might know some of maybe the low-level lords. Like, I think the Rothschilds might be some low-level lords. You might know some of them, but you don't get to know the king. That doesn't happen. And so the pipelines feeds into it. And that's my background as, libertarian constitution. I believe in the Constitution, civil rights, the Bill of Rights, leave people alone, states' rights, republic. Is your land, you do what you want on your land. And so, of course, that's not what's happening. So, all right, I'm off, and let me bring it down a little bit, see what y'all talk about. It's crazy. It's all craziness. He said, yeah, Noah ain't coming. Noah is not coming. There will be no ark in this show. There will be no ark. No arkisms, none of that. Let me show you something I love. I love this one right here. Oh, can I put this one? I don't know if I can do this one right here. I like this one right here. That was kind of fun. But there will be no ark. There is no ark in this movie, y'all. The water is going up. That's bad. That's bad. Let's do something about it. All right. So, and the funny thing that you mentioned that, Mary, is if there is no evidence, right? If there is no definitive evidence either way for climate change, or that the earth is flat, you know what that's called? That's called, well, there is no evidence that it is a permanent thing. That's called faith. You know what kind of groups have faith? I say this stuff and I get all in trouble and stuff. You know what kind of groups have faith? Y'all come down on me. Brother Johnny, I don't know where he's at. Christian. We have a lot more religions than what we're owning up to. That's what I think. I think a lot of y'all, because when you have a group that believes something based on faith, to me, I think that's a religion, if not a cult. Yes, I'm a part of a religion. I ain't going to call it a cult. But the flat earthers, the climate changers, the climate deniers, these are all people who believe things with me in my religion that are based on faith. And you know how dangerous it is to let a faith-based group control government, let alone governments with an S. Because that's what the whole Paris Climate Accord and all of this is about, right? And this is where the discussion of how eugenics shifted into climate change came from. Some really real damning stuff that I think y'all need to look at. Sister Alicia said, why not change their jobs to renewable energy? Well, because if the last administration changed the jobs, say the coal mining jobs, to renewable energy, they'd make a whole lot of friends. This thing doesn't work well when people all get on the same side, right? Damn it, that group might have 60, 70%. If all the coal mining families, they got nice, they're making solar panels, putting up wind vanes, and they got tax benefits and breaks to do that. Man, you'd have a lot of people shifting to the other side, wouldn't you? And then if you got people shifting to that side, because now, life is good, things are good. Now you got 70% of the people, the voting population, supporting one party. You know how dangerous that is to get everybody on one side? The only thing that any of these people fear is unity, of people coming together and agreeing, it means that 60, 70% could actually require their party do everything they want them to do because they'd have the majority of say in the country. They can't ever let that happen. The goal is to keep people divided down the middle, and they do the math. Because when you own both parties and you do your controlled opposition, you have to make sure it stays pretty darn solid down the middle. Because that way you can do anything you want to do, and you can make things emotional and keep them fighting so you don't give them nothing. You don't do anything for them. But you can rob a world. You can invade an empire. You cannot do anything to Saudi Arabia over Yemen. Sister Lisa said the pipeline should be a big lesson. You go up against one and they build 50 more. And because they won. They won that discussion. I'm going to shift my thing. They won that discussion. The minute that they realized that they could get away with people clapping for the pipeline, it was done. It was done. The minute that the one side, I have to say I hate saying names. I got to say the names. Once they realized that the Democrats were going to cheer when the president, whose face they like to look at, levied a fine on the pipeline. There you go. He's doing something. He doing something. Y'all, he doing something. Nobody else doing nothing. He doing something. They got you. The minute that happened, they got you. And so they knew the other side, they could push hardcore pipeline, roll pipelines out everywhere from Pennsylvania to Jersey to California to Syria to Afghanistan. Well, not Afghanistan. They can't go to Afghanistan. Afghanistan, they're not stupid. That's the wrong word. Afghanistan, they're not as tolerant as we are. Afghanistan, they don't. Hold on, let me show you what they do. In Afghanistan, this is what they do.
Designed to bounce with calcium set to rise. Designed to fill your mind now that you realize the prize arrives. We got to pump the stuff to make it time.
In Afghanistan, they fight the power. They meant it. In Afghanistan, they weren't playing. It wasn't just an 80s dance thing, right? They meant it. When they meant fight, those brothers fighting the power. That's what's happening over there. So there's no pipeline. That's why they do poppies. They got another P. They grow poppies over there. They don't do pipelines over there. They do poppies because the minute they put down the pipeline, they blow that mother up. So no, they're still fighting the pipe. They're raging against the machine over there. It's nothing. You can do that in Pennsylvania and America and Jersey and places where people actually aren't gonna fight because they lost a fight because they can be out there protesting, but they turn around and vote for the parties that are making the money on the pipelines. Then there's no way that's gonna happen. So that's what I think with that. I think you can expect to see no states' rights, no landowner rights. You can expect to see pipelines going up everywhere. I can't even see all my comments, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm trying to address the ones that I see as they come up, but my comments not working this morning. Facebook playing with me. Facebook, leave me alone. I ain't saying nothing about Facebook. I gave y'all a good grade. Y'all watching this, I gave y'all a B+ in the hearing. I appreciated what y'all said about independent journalism and opposition and alternative voices. I appreciate that. I saw the way you divisively answered those questions in a way that the politicians' brains couldn't figure out what you were saying about free speech. I was watching. I'm not feeling how y'all play both sides because I know y'all play both sides too, Facebook. But leave my comments alone, man. I'm not against y'all. I'm against Google. Google is the demon, and Twitter, they're like a mini demon. I try to stay away from them, but I don't have big issue with Facebook. Y'all some censoring people, but y'all censor for money. I'm okay with that. Censoring for politics, that's different. That's trying to dominate the world. I'm okay with them trying to make a buck. So leave my comments alone. I'm trying to read what people talking about. Yeah, the comments are repeating. Something's happening, Lori. I don't know what's happening. I kind of reset because I want to see what y'all saying. You know what? Let me do this. I want to see what y'all saying, and I can't really see. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick something because let me show you right here. I got this. This is what we're going to do. We're going to take us back while I try and attempt to figure out what the heck is going on with my comments. We're going to show you, brother. Where you at, man? I done lost it. There we go. Nope, that's not it. There it goes, right here. I'm going to show y'all this.
With all the evidence that we've amassed in our preparations for the Stockholm Conference, including views of many of the world's leading scientists, I am convinced that the prophets of doom have got to be taken seriously. In other words, doomsday is a possibility. I'm equally convinced that doomsday is not inevitable.
On paper, it would be almost impossible to find a less likely candidate for godfather of the modern environmental movement than Maurice Strong. A junior high school dropout from a poor family in rural Manitoba struck hard by the Great Depression, Strong's meteoric rise to the heights of wealth and political influence is itself remarkable. The sheer number of environmental organizations that he founded, conferences he chaired, campaigns he directed, and accolades he received over the course of his career is even more remarkable. Organizer of the Stockholm Environmental Conference, founding director of the United Nations Environment Program, Secretary General of the Rio Earth Summit, founder of the Earth Council and the Earth Charter Movement, chair of the World Resources Institute, commissioner of the World Commission on Environment and Development, and board member of a bewildering array of organizations, from the International Institute for Sustainable Development to the Stockholm Environment Institute to the African American Institute. But perhaps the most remarkable thing about Strong, this ubiquitous figure of the 20th century environmental movement, was his background. A Rockefeller-connected millionaire from the Alberta oil patch who divided his time between environmental campaigning and running major oil companies. To understand how this came about, we have to examine the history of the emergence of the environmental movement. In the post-war period, the desire to control the population put on a new mask, protecting the world from resource depletion, pollution, and ecological catastrophe. And, as always, the Rockefeller family was there to provide the funding and organizational support to steer this burgeoning movement toward their own ends.
The basic cause of the problem is people. As the population of the world rapidly increases, there is greater demand on the Earth's basic resources of land, water, and air. This planet's capacity to give sustenance and to absorb and recycle waste is not boundless. And in the next 25 years, the Earth's population will increase more than it has in the last million years. And to the nations of the world, this poses a greater threat than anything we have experienced before. People on every continent, all facing disaster if we don't find a solution for the population explosion that now threatens the world.
President Nixon and the United States Congress established the Commission on Population Growth and the American Future. The chairman of this unique commission is John D. Rockefeller III.
It was a very broad-ranging mandate. Nobody's had one of this character before. And just from that, this question of quality of life just emerged as the seemingly key issue.
But the main finding was that stabilization of some kind is clearly desirable for the country.
Yes, we said that it is recognized that population cannot continue to grow indefinitely. Nobody questions that. And we said from our findings, we felt that now the nation should welcome and plan for a stabilized population. Well, the whole question of pollution, environment, and population came very much to the fore in amazingly rapid time. And President Nixon, in July 1969, made a statement to the Congress exclusively on this question. And I'd like to read just 2 sentences from that statement, as I think it's indicative of his concern in regard to the subject and his recognition of its importance here and around the world. He said, "One of the most serious challenges to human destiny in the last third of this century will be the growth of the population. Whether man's response to this challenge will be a cause for pride or for despair in the year 2000 will depend very much on what we do today.
System of scientific engineering.
Government proposal for...
You know, I think, see if I can pop the thing back up here. There we go. I suspect, I got this conversation the other day, and we were talking about why don't they even hide it anymore? Why it's not even hidden, like they don't even care about this anymore. Like they're not, either there's just so much information coming out that they can't, or it's insignificant. There's nothing that they think is actually going to happen that's going to slow any of this down. That things are at a point now where you have enough mini 1%ers, kind of like mini me. You got the mini 1%. Maybe there are enough mini 1%ers that they're not worried about hiding it. They'll just put it right out there in front of your face, and they don't disguise any of this. Like, we talk about stabilization, right? Making money. So let's talk about George Soros, right? Day trading. How do you make money? Destabilizing markets, right? If you can destabilize a market, you can make a lot of money on the rises and falls, the resources, right? That's why we destabilize countries. We do the regime change. Well, there are a lot of reasons why, but one of those reasons why is we can make a lot of different money from different corporations as they make money shifting power and control with those minerals. And so if you can destabilize things, you can make a lot of money from them. It's like never letting a disaster go. What did he say? There was a politician. He said, never let a good disaster go by, or something to that effect. It's basically disaster capitalism, right? So what they did in Puerto Rico, same exact thing, perhaps with this whole sustainability and climate change thing. If you can destabilize a thing, a population, a country, a earth, you can make a lot of money because you're always you're probably 10 steps ahead of what everybody else can finally understand. So I can see my comments now. I appreciate that. Took a moment to show you a quick video so I could actually see what you guys are talking about. But see, Facebook, they heard my message and they appreciate it. They were like, you know what? They had a quick meeting. We gonna mess with this guy. And they're like, no, we're gonna leave the guy alone. Looks like, yeah, he did post a video. He gave us a B+. He doesn't like Google and he doesn't like Twitter too much, but he kind of likes us, and they fixed the comments. That's how these things work. Got to be nice to people. I have to tell you that. Always be nice to people. Be nice to people because they'll take care of you. You got to be nice. But the whole thing went. And I say Rockefeller. Everybody says Rockefeller, right? But I don't believe that they're at the base of it. I don't buy it. I don't think that we actually get to know who runs all of this. But they're the popular ones, and whoever is behind it, but probably 3, 4, 5 layers. But that's the one that's in our face. And the bottom line is they are controlling all of this. They control all sides of the discussion because you can't let people overpopulate. This planet is nowhere near overpopulated. The last study I saw said something like we can feed 700 trillion people, something like that, something crazy insane like that. We're nowhere near overpopulated. We just don't deploy technology to help people. And as long as we don't deploy technology to help people, then they can get away with an awful lot of horrible things because people die who shouldn't be dying. Yemen, becoming the power instead of fighting the power, becoming the machine instead of raging against the machine. So we have technology that can go to Yemen and save lives. We have people, I was watching a show. I'm going to tell you something. It's a show that I love. I love being a little kid growing up. I used to like these treasure hunting shows. There's a show called The Search, I think it's called The Mystery of Oak Island or Search for Oak Island, something like that. And I love that show. But you know, there was one of the cast members died. And it was one of the kids. He was 16 years old. I have a son that's about that age. And he died of, I think he had a seizure. And so, like I said with a lot of this stuff, we can joke and we can play. But none of this stuff is politics. None of it is politics. If we deploy the majority of our intellectual capital and technology into making weapons to murder people and take human life, we're going to lose a lot of lives. Not just in using those forces to actually take the life, but in the allocation of all of our resources around the world allocated to things that aren't for us, things that don't help us being the 99%, 99.99%, and the number's still going up. And so one of the cast members died. He died of a seizure. And I'm just like, medical science, in terms of where we are, we would be hundreds of years ahead of where we are if we allocated our resources towards helping people. But the only way we get there is we have to stop putting psychopaths in control over everything. And again, it's where my hope comes from. My hope comes from the fact that all of this could stop tomorrow. All of it. Tomorrow, we could end all of this. Tomorrow, people could go back to fighting the power. They could go back to raging against the machine. And because that's our generation, that's my generation, most of us who used to do that before we picked up the whip and started whipping people, we can do a complete regime change without a shot fired. Any day we want. Any day we want. We can completely flip our entire government and save the whole United States of the earth. Save the whole world, y'all. We can do that any day. But it requires you laying down your sword with your brother and your sister. That's what it requires. Any day we decide. If we all decided today, say, you know what, that's it. It wouldn't have to be all of us. It probably, if it were just 20% of us. If we decided today that we're done with this, and we all picked up the phone, called the politicians, any random politician, doesn't matter, because there's enough of us. We outnumber them significantly. Just call one of them. Could be a local one, too. And just said, we're done with you. We're done with your wars. Bring every troop home. Deploy troops for peace in warring areas so negotiations can start. We're done with war. We demand world peace right now. Or we will vote you out. You will be done. Completely. Within a year, all of our soldiers would be home. Those would be deployed to Saudi Arabia to get them back in line. Let those people pick and choose the type of government they want to have instead of putting rich, wealthy kings that murder, rob, and kill. We can change it anytime we want. We just have to go back to being as smart as we were when we were teenagers. Oh, yeah, I said that out loud. We just have to go back to being smart. We have to go back to having a heart. We have to melt these icy things that we call hearts and start giving a damn again. Before they shut all this down, because it's coming. They're going to shut it all down. So I'm trying to read the comments, y'all. They fixed it for a minute. It looks like it froze up. So I can't even see what y'all are talking about. And it's a very distracting thing because I don't like having conversations with myself. That's a lie. That's not true. That's not totally true. I like to talk to myself. I do that a lot, but I come on here to learn. I don't come on here just to talk, hear myself talk, and I'm trying to see what y'all are saying. Okay, I can see it now. Okay, I got it away. Hold on. I think I can see something. I just saw something. Renee said, need to stop walking in fear created by the elites. Yes, and that's what all this is. They don't like it when we say it, but it's true. Why do you have many elites? You got the elite and the mini elites. Why do you have them? Because they're scared. There's no other better way to put it. They're scared. They're scared because they have cars, they have houses, they have jobs, they need health care. They're scared. They are flat out scared if they turn against evil people that they're going to lose these things. They're scared for other reasons, but it's fear which is why your brother, your sister, your neighbor, your friends at work believe this ignorance, and they talk this ignorance, and they share the ignorance. And you can't really convince me. You can't convince me that these people don't know what's going on. It's hard for me to believe that you can drive an automobile and you don't have a bone in your nose and you're walking around here and you actually don't see that these people are supporting power structures that should not exist, that these people are doing this all over the world. I don't think our friends are as dumb as they pretend to be. I think they pretend to be dumb because they're scared. And so in talking with them, I think, you win that discussion not by really giving them facts, because they will ignore the facts all day. We all have friends who do that. You win that discussion by addressing their fear, right? That's what I think. I think the very few that I've seen that have kind of come over and come back, when you address their fears and you get them to see that they really don't have anything to fear, that we actually do control our government, we've decided not to invoke that power, I think that's when they back down. That's when you can start to have an intellectual discussion with somebody who's still believing in the whole left-right paradigm and that nonsense. So some comments. Well, I can see y'all talking. I can see a few of them, I think. No one wants to give up their ground. Some people don't, Lisa. You're right. Some people don't want to give up their ground, but you know what? You can't talk to everybody. Not everybody wants to talk to you. Not everybody wants to have a discussion, an intellectual discussion, because you scare them. Lisa, sometimes you scare me. You send me some stuff, and I'm looking at my inbox. I'm like, oh my God, this is happening. I'm running out the house, grab my guns in my bags, shoot. Sometimes you scare me, but it's getting over that fear. But it's also talking to the ones that aren't petrified. Maybe that's the right thing to say. It's sometimes we target people to try to pull them out of their lies because we love them or they're close to us, they're a husband or brother or wife or something. But if they're petrified, you can't do anything with a petrified person. They're petrified, they're gonna have their Democrat badge on. If they're petrified, they're going to have that Republican badge on, right? If they're petrified, they're going to have that identity politics. They're going to be scared, too scared to criticize a person they voted for. They're going to be too scared to criticize somebody who leads their little cartel, right? So you can't deal with the petrified people. You got to deal with the people who actually give a damn about the future. You got to, hold on, I'm going to go back. You got to deal with the people who don't want this. You got to deal with the people who, is it this one right here? I think it's this one. Nope, it's not that one. Nope, that's Brad Pitt. He ain't coming. You got to deal with the people. I got to get to the right background. There it goes. You got to deal with these folks. The folks who don't want this. That's who you want to talk to. You don't want to talk to the people who are scared, who are petrified, who are still lost in, I got to back my politician because yours is a worse monster. You got to talk to the people who are starting to realize that there is no lesser evil. There is none. I know Brother Tatsu put that on his status the other day about the lesser. No, he was joking with y'all. He didn't believe that. There is no lesser evil. There is none. There is only evil. There is only good in this world, and there's only evil in this world. And you actually can identify who is good and who is evil by what they do. Actions speak louder than words. Actions speak louder than words. I got to drink some coffee. Ended up in the discussion part of this because I can see some comments now. Now I can stop talking to myself. Hey, Kate, you came in late, sister girl. We done finished. Kate, we done solved the world, we done fixed everything. We done found all the problems. We know how to fix everybody and save everything. It's all about, thank you, Mary. It's about alleviating fear. And I appreciate that confirmation because I say stuff, I don't know if it's totally true on spot, but kind of think about it together. But that's what I'm thinking. We have to alleviate their fears. And if they're not ready to give up those fears, then you can't really talk to them. You got to move on. You can't force people to give up their fear. You can't force people to look at facts and logic. All you can do is post it, tell them about it, and if they embrace it, they'll kind of follow with you to come along. Like I have some friends, they kind of follow me a little bit. They don't really kind of sort of, but they kind of like that. They hate the fact. Sometimes I'm right and they hate it, and it's like, that's mother, but that's all you can do. That's all you can do. You can only talk about it. Buddha said, many of my friends on Facebook never comment on things I share. Yeah, I know. They respond with the sadness. Yes, yeah, and that's it. But that's an indicator, right? Because they're reading it. They're reading it. They're cussing you out. They're like, oh, this mother, yeah, but she kind of right. She kind of, I do remember that. And damn it. I used to fight the power. I used to rage against the machine. Yeah, I used to. I got to a point where, no, I didn't want to be one of the deciders because the deciders was deciding for me. And they put the little sad face on your post. It's like, okay. But that's like, to me, that's a reach out. Right? That's a reach out. That's someone saying, Buddha, damn it. We got into some heated arguments and yeah, that kind of makes some sense, but it doesn't really make sense. But as long as you got to fight in somebody like that, where the strength in them is starting to fight with the fear, this is when we're getting somewhere, right? Like this is why I'm happy. This is why horrible things are happening in the world. But I'm happy because people are really starting to realize we should have been fighting this thing the whole time. They realized we were tricked, right? As kids, we fought this stuff. We tell you in a minute where you can stick it, how deep down far you can stick it. But then we got jobs. We got cars. We had kids. We had good reasons to develop fears, right? And this is how this works. And this is why you have such a big minimalist movement that's kicking up everywhere. I encourage you folks to start thinking about living a little within your means, right? Don't live on debt and credit because they're walking you into a trap. It's like a wise prophet once said, wise prophet by the name, what was his name? Shrek. Yeah, his name was Shrek. Wise prophet from way back. He said, ogres have layers, like onions have layers. All of this stuff has layers, right? As long as you're on the bottom, you can speak your mind and you don't care. But when you start going up in the layers and you get your house and your car and you need this and you need that, healthcare, somebody gets sick, gets cancer, you need all this, you get to a point where you have to go along with the system because you're scared of losing those things. And the thing that I ask people to do is be more scared for our kids. Be more scared for the next generation. I used to post these pictures. Let me show you something. I have to go back to, because I love nature examples. I think nature, we learn everything from nature. And let me show you this. We have to go back to, is it not in this one? Oh, it's not in. I always got folders everywhere. We have to go back to being who we used to be. We have to go back to, we evolved doing this, right? We evolved taking care of our young. We evolved making sure that our young were more important than what we felt we were. We evolved making sure the next generation always was an upgrade. When we evolved, every species that made it, they learned how to care for their young more for themselves. They learned how to take on the predators. They realized that the predators were a significant foe, and the predators could kill them. But they had to feed the young. They had to make the next generation stronger. They came up with strategies to protect the young from the predators. They didn't feed the young to the predators. They didn't join the predators. They fought the power. They came up with ways, evolved ways to beat the power away. And so they found ways to go against the predator machine. And this is, and hell, let me show you, this is an artifact. This is really cool. These are buffalo, and they form these circles to defend the young. And the young go in the center of the circle, and it's how they defended the young. They would put themselves at risk, and they would put their horns facing the predator to make sure the predator couldn't get to their young. They didn't go switch sides and join the predators, y'all. They fought the power, right? And this is like an ancient artifact, and it's showing you that man used to always look at nature, and it evolved. Man evolved by watching nature, watching more evolved species, right? How they defended their young, how they took on the predators, and when need be, how they became predators when someone threatened their young, right? Like, it was always about the next generation. And so we have to go back to protecting our young. We have to go back to that herd mentality that prioritizes the next generation over the fears that we have about today. We have to go back to being the predator, y'all. We got to go back to being lions, because when the lions come, you need some other lions to take on them lions, right? And that's taking the next step in evolution. But anyway, I'm sorry I couldn't see too many of the comments. I like to I'll go back and read them, because I always have to read everybody's comments. It's how we learn, so I can't see what everybody's saying. Somebody's talking about vaccines, vaccination, get in trouble. Get in trouble Friday. Somebody put up vaccines. Sister Kimberly said vaccinations too. I'm forced to get a flu vaccine before I go in the hospital. Ooh, for my hip replacement. Yeah, sister, and I'm sorry to hear that. It's, but again, it's, try to figure out the best way to put it, because I don't, sometimes when you mention vaccines, you lose people right away, because they've got that religion. They believe things that there is absolutely no evidence anywhere on the planet exists, but they believe these things are true, right? And so let's start there. That's probably the best starting point. This is my last point, then I'm gonna let it go. You said vaccine, so I have to say it. So there is no evidence anywhere that any vaccine has ever worked, ever, right? So anybody who tells you, it's like saying all cars work. All cars don't work. I see broken down cars all the time. Some cars don't work. Some cars made by car companies catch on fire. So all cars don't work. Now, could some vaccines work? Perhaps. Could some flu shots work? Perhaps. But do we know enough about the human body to say that they do, and they will for a lifetime, and they won't cause any other damage? No, we don't. Nobody on the planet has that knowledge, and the technology doesn't even exist for that to happen. Nobody even understands completely how the immune system even works. So anyone who wants to debate with you and tell you that vaccines and flu shots are safe, they're as dumb as people who say, okay, that's the wrong word. That's the wrong word. They are as faith-having as people who say the earth is flat. They are as faith-having as people who say climate change is 100% real. They are as faith-having as people who say climate change is not real. So I have no interest in fallacies, right? I have interest in facts, and I listen to the professionals when it comes to that. And it's like with war. If we want to go kill a bunch of people in Iraq, first thing I want to hear is from the Iraqis. I want to hear the other side of the debate. I don't care about the people who believe this side of the debate. I want to hear the other side. If you tell me not to listen to Al Jazeera, I'm going to listen to Al Jazeera. So if you tell me vaccines they work, or vaccines they cured smallpox, they cured polio, I'm gonna go listen to the other side. right? Because it's important to get two sides of an argument of the professionals to get the true understanding. And from what I heard from the doctors and the scientists who were talking about polio, brought that one up, is that polio was already on the decline by the time they made the vaccines. And there were multiple types of vaccines that they made, and some vaccines actually caused polio and killed people, right? A lot of people don't seem to realize that we have what's called a vaccine defense fund and the vaccine injury fund. And the whole purpose of the vaccine injury fund is because if you die or if you become maimed because of it, because there are 7 billion different types of people on this planet with 7 billion different types of immune systems, but if you are one of those people, we as taxpayers, not the pharmaceutical companies, but we as taxpayers have to pay for the damage done to you. And that's if you can prove it came from the vaccine, right? So the reality is you just have to kind of look at science for where it is, right? And you got to make your own choices. I don't tell people don't get vaccines, and I don't tell them to get vaccines. I don't get no damn vaccines. I don't get no damn flu shots. I would never, because unfortunately I read too much, and I know that my body operates very well without them. My body does not get sick when I don't touch those things. So I'm not going to touch those things. I don't need them. My body evolved on a planet where their products never existed. So I don't want their products. Their products might work. I'm not saying they don't. They might. But it's an experiment. And you're not going to experiment with my body. Why? Because you're a liar. How I started this whole conversation. Because you're a liar. Johnny, you said that you had the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip, but I caught you lying. So why am I going to believe you now? We have a government that habitually lies. We have corporations that are highly motivated to lie. And so I look at things like epigenetics, and I watch the science, and I watch how these things unfold, and it's obvious that they don't know what they're talking about. And there are enough dissenting voices who are, the doctors and the scientists who debate them toe to toe. And they have evidence showing, that they were lying, that the evidence never really existed, that they actually cured or solved anything, that any of these things work. So I don't jump on either side of the debate. Like a lot of my friends like to, but my friends, they're rocket scientists and they're robotics engineers and they're doctors. They're all kind of things, Me, I listen to the professionals. If professional A says it's safe, professional B says it's not safe, then to me, it's called an experiment. That's it. If warmonger A says we're going to go fight for freedom wherever there's trouble, and the people over there saying ISIS doesn't exist, they're just murdering us and taking our resources, taking our oil, then to me it's not a founded war. It's not something we should be in. So anyway, that's all I got for today. It was a long one today. I appreciate y'all jumping in, having a good little conversation today. I'm sorry I couldn't see the comments. I don't know what the heck was happening today, but you guys have a good weekend. And if I don't see you, I'll see you. Love you guys.